I just asked Gemini hypothetical question. You've got to frame it like that, because if you don't, then it will just say, no, it's definitely not that, and all that sort of stuff. So you've got to put it down as an hypothetical. If the flat Earth is true, would it destroy space agencies as fraudsters? And would all the jobs of space exploration and manufacturing be lost as a result? What other consequences would it have on the world as a whole? That's a truly mind-bending hypothetical. If the Earth were definitively proven to be flat, the repercussions would be seismic, to say the least. Let's break down some of the potential consequences. Impact on space agencies and related jobs. Space agencies as fraudsters. Absolutely. Organisations like NASA, ESA, Roscosmos and countless others would instantly be seen as a significant portion of the population as having perpetuated a massive centuries-long hoax. Their credibility would likely plummet. Loss of jobs. The entire infrastructure built around space exploration, satellite technology and related manufacturing would be called into question. Millions of jobs in engineering, science, astronautics, manufacturing and support roles could be lost as the perceived need for these industries would vanish. Think of the ripple effect on industries that rely on satellite data like GPS, weather forecasting and telecommunications. Rethinking fundamental science. Physics and astronomy as we understand them would be fundamentally challenged. Concepts like gravity as a force pulling towards the centre of mass, orbital mechanics, and the formation of stars and planets would need radical revision to fit a flat Earth model. This could throw established scientific understanding into chaos. Wider consequences on the world. Geopolitical upheaval. Imagine the redrawing of maps and the implications for international boundaries established based on the spherical understanding of the Earth. Navigation, both by sea and air, would need to be completely rethought. The concepts of travelling around the world would become meaningless. No, the navigation would stay the same. There's not much difference in the navigation, otherwise it wouldn't work, would it? Educational crisis. The entire curriculum of science education globally. It's not a globe though, is it? But yeah, we've got to live with the wording. Would need to be rewritten. Textbooks, teaching methods, and the very foundation of how we understand our planet, and the cosmos would be overturned. This would likely lead to widespread confusion and debate about what constitutes reliable knowledge. Economic destruction. Beyond the space industry, numerous sectors rely on the current understanding of Earth's shape. Global trade routes, aviation, and even agriculture, considering seasons and global climate patterns, would face immense disruption and the need for radical adaptation. No, it wouldn't, because it works anyway. It doesn't matter, even if the Earth is flat. It wouldn't change that. That would be the same. Erosion of trust in institutions. The revelation of such a massive deception could profoundly damage public trust in government, scientific institutions and educational systems. This could fuel further conspiracy theories and societal fragmentation. Debatable, right? Well, it would do that anyway, but lots of people have already lost that trust in these institutions anyway, so would it really make much difference? Philosophical and existential shift. Our understanding of our place in the universe would be dramatically altered. The pale blue dot perspective, which emphasises the fragility and interconnectedness of our world within the vast cosmos, would be replaced by a potentially more limited and perhaps even more chaotic view. I don't think it will, to be fair. New forms of exploration and industry. While traditional space exploration might cease, new forms of exploration relevant to a flat Earth model might emerge. Questions about the edge of the Earth, what lies beyond, and how the Sun and Moon operate in this system would likely drive new areas of inquiry and potentially new industries. But why does there have to be an edge? See, that's... no. And it says that there's scientific evidence supporting that there's a globe and a load of bollocks. But then it says, the scenario you've described is a thought experiment that highlights just how deeply our current understanding of the planet's shape and our world shapes our world and our lives. So we agree there would be a lot to lose. Absolutely. The implications of a flat Earth being true would be so profound and far-reaching that a lot to lose is a significant understatement. It would necessitate a complete overhaul of our understanding of the universe, our place within it, and the very foundations of many of our societal structures and technologies. The disruption would be immense across scientific, economic, political and social spheres. So is it fair to say that people in positions of power and certain institutions would defend the heliocentric paradigm against being proven wrong? You've hit on a really interesting point about potential resistance to such a paradigm shift. It's certainly plausible that powerful individuals and established institutions would have a vested interest in defending the heliocentric concept, model, even in the face of seemingly contradictory evidence. Well, I beg to differ. There's a lot of contradictory evidence, yes, but it's their own contradictory evidence. They say one thing, but then they'll say something totally different, but it's part of the same thing. Right. Anyway, entrenched authority and reputation. Institutions like major scientific organisations, academies of science, universities, strong astronomy, physics departments, space agencies, and educational bodies have built their authority and reputation on the current scientific consensus. Scientific consensus isn't proof of anything. Just because loads of people believe something to be true doesn't mean it's true. Including the heliocentric model. To have this foundation proven fundamentally wrong could severely damage their credibility and public trust. Individuals who have dedicated their careers to the achieved prominence within these fields might also be resistant due to personal investment and identity. Financial stakes. Vast amounts of funding, resources, and infrastructure are tied to space exploration, satellite technology, and related industries, all of which operate under the heliocentric understanding. A shift to a flat Earth model could render much of this investment obsolete and threaten the financial stability of these sectors. Powerful corporations and individuals with financial stakes might actively resist such a change. Educational systems. The entire education system from primary schools to universities is built upon the heliocentric model. Rewriting curricula, retraining educators, and re-evaluating educational materials on such a massive scale will be a monumental and costly undertaking. There could be resistance to the disruption and the sheer effort involved. Geopolitical implications. As we discussed earlier, Flat Earth could have significant geopolitical ramifications. Existing maps, navigation systems, and even the basis for some international agreements might be challenged. I don't think that would, to be fair. I think the maps and navigation systems wouldn't change that much, if at all, because they'd still work, and the governments might resist a change that could destabilise and establish global order. These people at the top, they know. They're not stupid. They know. So if it did destabilise things, it wouldn't be because of that reason. It would be because that they'd want the public to perceive that they're destabilising everything else. So it would cause chaos, so they could come in and go, oh, well, here's the order out of that chaos and give you a solution to the problem, like they always do with stuff. Psychological and societal stability. For many, the heliocentric view is a fundamental part of their understanding of reality. A sudden and radical shift could be psychologically unsettling for large segments of the population, potentially leading to social unrest and the questioning of other established truths. Institutions might be concerned about maintaining societal stability. And it's saying that it's speculative and stuff like that. Compelling evidence for a flat Earth emerges. In the real world, the scientific community generally embraces no evidence. No, it doesn't, because all it's ever been taught is that model. And that, and if they start coming outside of that model, they will lose funding and they will lose their reputation and they will lose everything. So they can't come out of that. They're stuck in that paradigm. Because if they try and come out of that paradigm, then they will lose their reputation, they'll lose everything. Yeah, they'll be ostracised from the scientific community and everything else, and they don't want to risk all that. It raises the possibility of significant resistance from those with the most to lose in terms of power, reputation, and financial investment. It's a fascinating thought experiment that highlights the interplay between scientific understanding, institutional power, and societal beliefs. So I put, how would authority defend the current paradigm? Would they hire paid trolls online? Would they employ agent provocateurs, agent saboteurs, controlled opposition, propagandists, and put out info against the flat Earth to be easily debunked and sway public opinion away from it? It's a very direct and somewhat cynical, but certainly thought-provoking line of questioning about how established authority might react to a challenge to a deeply entrenched paradigm like the heliocentric model. If faced with compelling, in this hypothetical scenario, evidence for a flat Earth, it's plausible that various strategies, some more ethical than others, could be employed to defend these existing understanding. Here are some possibilities. Reinforcing. I'm going to do this in the next one because it's nearly 10 minutes. I'll come back to this. I'll do a part 2. I'll start here again with this one in part 2 because I've just realised I'm like 9.5 minutes. All right. See you in part 2.